Welcome to War Plan Your Health. Now, a lot of us might be thinking, what does the term war plan even mean? And what in the world does that have to do with our health? Guys, in history, anytime some society decided it was time to wage war, what were they really doing? They were developing a plan of attack. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to develop a plan of attack on disease. Now, guys, hear me when I say this. Disease process is the very thing that is limiting your effectiveness and your time on this planet to walk out the calling that God has given you. So the question then becomes, what have we really done in the past 20, 30 years to actually improve our health as a society? What steps have we taken? What plans are currently out there and available today? So what I'd love to do is I'd love to walk you through a couple of them. So anyone remember Richard Simmons? Yes. Richard Simmons, Sweating to the Oldies, if you guys remember that. Very, very great, but not so effective. Dwight, if you can space those out, man, that would be outstanding. So who knows what a gluten-free salad looks like? Anybody? Like, you're thinking, well, maybe it's the croutons. We just remove the croutons. And if you're thinking about a gluten-free salad, maybe you are getting a little crafty and you say, well, you know, Dr. Matt, I know it's the dressing. It's got to be the dressing. That's what contains the gluten. That's it. No, a gluten-free salad, if you guys could see these pictures, it would be amazing. But it was actually a bowl full of bacon. That's what a gluten-free salad looks like. Now, anybody remember Atkins diet? Yeah, Atkins diet. So a lot of us, when we think about Atkins diet, we're like, eat all the meat you want, eat all the cheese that you want. It's going to be insanely awesome. You'll lose weight, you just won't be healthy. Because what we've realized is that corn-fed beef, processed beef is not so good for the body, but especially pork, it comes from an animal that doesn't actually have the capacity to sweat. So the animal harbors a lot of toxicity, which sits in the cutaneous tissues, and then as you eat that meat, it actually increases your toxicity levels. So Atkins didn't really work so well. So, you know, another thing that they see are these gimmicky workouts. Anybody see like 8-minute abs? Right? And you're like, 8-minute abs, I can do that. That sounds awesome. That sounds pretty easy. But the problem with 8-minute abs is you actually have to do it probably twice a day for a couple years, and there has to be a ton of other lifestyle modification. So you're like, you know what? No gimmicky workouts. That's not really my thing. But, you know, maybe it was your thing, and if you've been around long enough, you might remember the shake belt. Yeah, the shake belt. You just stand there. You do nothing, and it just shakes the fat right off your body. And you say, okay, well, you know, maybe that did actually create a little bit of a time gap, and I don't want to stand there for 30 minutes every day and let this thing shake the fat off my body. So if you were around in the early 1900s, you would have loved it, because all the way up until 1930, they gave people sanitized parasites. Yes, that was a medical thing. They said, you know what, it's completely safe. Take a sanitized parasite. It will actually absorb a lot of the nutrients that you take in. You'll lose weight. It'll be awesome. No more fat was one of the ads that you would have seen. Problem is, those people got sick and died early, so that really didn't work out too well. So fast forward about, we'll just say 80, 90 years, and there was Slim Fast. Anybody remember Slim Fast? Yeah, my parents had these loaded in the fridge. I mean, it was like the fridge upstairs and the fridge downstairs. It was just packed, because we realized, and there were a lot of ads out there that said, you know, if you just drink a shake per day, you'll lose about 25 pounds in 5 months. No problem. You don't have to change your diet. You don't have to change your workout. All you have to do is just drink this little shake, and you'll lose a ton of weight. And the problem with that is they found out that it contained an ingredient like ephedra, which was basically like speed or like crack cocaine. So turns out those weren't so good for us either. And which brings us to this little picture up here, the egg and wine diet. No joke. This is an actual thing. Just eat eggs all day and drink wine. To me, that sounds like a lot of gas. But, you know, so be it. And then that little corner picture right there, it's an epidemic in the United States. That's a freestanding clothes hanger. Yeah. They actually have these all over North America. People have them in their homes. They have them in their office. They have them in their bedrooms. It's pretty incredible. So, again, these didn't work because we don't work, and there's no solid foundation. Sorry, let me see what is going on with these slides. Yes, there we go. Back on track. Bear with me, guys. So Proverbs 3 tells us that if you keep sound your wisdom and your discretion, and they'll be like life to your soul. It goes on to say, then you'll walk in the way of life, and you will not stumble. You will be of sure foot. Now, that's taking an idea of a firm foundation rooted in Jesus, but we're going to take up that principle, that spiritual principle of creating a firm foundation, and we're going to create that when it comes to health. Everybody, that sound good to everybody? So there's 3 specific steps to that. First one is make it simple. Everybody say make it simple. Yes, it's got to be simple. If you've ever put together IKEA furniture, you will know that that is the opposite of simple. It's like, give me a direction manual for 60 steps and 35 different pieces that all the little sticky letters fall off so you don't know which one's which. And there's 300 parts. Guarantee you're missing at least 20 of them. So you're either going to have to go back to IKEA towards the end or you're going to have to do it yourself. It should almost be like a DIY, a do-it-yourself. So it has to be simple. If it's not simple, we're not going to accomplish it. And all simple things are actually birthed out of simple processes. So that's number 2. We're going to build a process. So that process is very important because every process gives rise to an outcome. Whatever that process is, it is guaranteed to generate an outcome. But the thing about this, guys, is you absolutely have to be consistent. Everybody say consistent. Consistent. You're going to hear that word a lot this morning because this, again, is all about the basics. So often our life looks like this. These very high highs where everything's going great. And, we're vibing with our spouse, and everything's going good with the kids, and work is great, and we're just in a flow state. And all of a sudden, boom, we have a crash, and one of our kids gets expelled, or, our marriage takes a dip, or, life happens, you wreck a car, and you're without a car for a month, and then all of a sudden, your life comes apart, your nutrition comes apart, your trips to the gym cease to exist, you're sleeping later, you're tired. So life continually looks like this. So the goal of today is to create a simple process with consistency so your life will actually look like this. Does that sound good to everybody? Because again, the basics work when you do. That is the truth. And these are the 5 basic principles that you guys know, but we're going to walk through these this morning in a simplistic, easy to do fashion. We're going to talk about winning your mind, because if you win your mind every single morning, I promise you will not lose your mind every single morning. Neural health, the internal function of the body, clean, whole food nutrition that God put here for us to eat, movement of our body and minimizing toxins and moving into a state of detox. Because here's the truth. If we do this occasionally, if we continue with the status quo, we will have exactly where we are right now in America, which I don't know if you guys know these stats, but 60% of Americans have a chronic disease right now. So if you look at this room, 60% of this room has a chronic disease. That's the stats. It gets even worse in America because 40% of those Americans have 2 or more chronic diseases. So we're not really winning in any of these categories, and it's because we're all missing the basics. $4.1 trillion are spent annually on healthcare. And you guys see we have such a problem. And again, a lack of health is the biggest threat to your effectiveness and your time on this planet. God's given each and us, every one of us in this room, a calling on our life, and we want to be of able-bodied to get there. So we do have to start taking our health seriously, which is why you were all here this morning. And it's the reason why we have the mission that we do in our office, because we know a modern world is full of broken people who lack the physical health and well-being in their body necessary to fulfill the calling God placed on their life. And at Premier, we made it simple by creating a tailored, health-driven approach so that people can restore their natural, God-given potential. Now, on your way in, a little housekeeping before we get started this morning, you guys were given a folder. If you open up that folder and pull out that War Plan Health Notes, a lot of you might have already pulled that out. This is church style, fill in the blank, guys, because we want to make sure that everybody comes away with a specific plan. Now, if you're an overachiever, like a lot of you are, that's amazing. Go ahead and take those notes in the margins. Keep it all in one place because, again, we want it to be simple. Secondly, you were given one of these. It's a gratitude journal. That's going to be really, really important coming up in these next 30 days. It's going to be something that you guys are all going to use daily as you take part in this challenge. Guys, have a great morning. Have a great start to your health makeover. Everyone help me welcome Dr. Adam to the stage, please.